on, Bears fans, and welcome to the CHGO Bears Pregame Show presented by Pointsbet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm your host for today's show, Nicholas Moreano. I'm joined by Greg Braggs and Kevin Kaduk. Guys, preseason game number 3. How we feeling?
Let's go.
Little toasting here, but I am ready to go. Just had a Starbucks. I am raring to go.
Okay.
I shouldn't be this excited about a preseason game, but...
Yes, you should be. They played the whole half.
I know.
Last week, we only got a series.
I thought we might be coming... I mean, I thought there was a chance we would come in here and maybe just be talking about reserves playing the entire time, right?
Yeah.
And now on the post-game show, make sure you join us for the post-game show. We've got an entire half of Justin Fields on that offense to talk about.
That's exciting. When Matt Eberflus, revealed, like, hey, the Stars are going to play up to the half. This game has meaning. And I know, obviously, being preseason game number 3, getting rid of that 4th one like they did, just recently, like, this game has meaning. We got to see how this offense can, build what we've seen so far. They haven't scored a touchdown, you guys. They haven't scored a touchdown in 2 preseason games.
Right.
Will this be the opportunity where we see the offense now with more snaps finally get into the end zone? That's what we're going to be looking for.
And we talked about it last week a little bit. I didn't think they were going to play these guys at all. I thought they would treat this like a traditional 4th preseason game, and I'm very happy that Matt Eberflus took this direction. This is where this team is at. They need to play, and you'll see other guys that have been in this league a lot longer playing this weekend. So if it's good enough for them, if it's good enough for Tom Brady, if it's good enough for Russell Wilson, those type of guys, it's good enough for the Chicago Bears to play. I understand the injury risk. And if after a couple series, Justin Fields is running for his life, I can understand the Bears and the coaching staff, making a different determination. But going into the game, they need to play these guys. That was my biggest criticism of Matt Nagy. They were never prepared coming into a season, never prepared coming out of a timeout, never prepared coming out of a bye week, never prepared coming out of an extended week. And that's what this team needs. You heard about the scout team looks at camp already, and now you're seeing that they're putting an emphasis on preseason reps. Last week was a short week. This week was a longer week. So play the guys. They need the reps. We got to figure out who this offensive line configuration is and build chemistry once you've figured out the offensive line configuration. It only makes sense to play these guys. I'm glad they're doing it.
You've got 2 weeks before the opener with the 49ers, so you're making sure that it's not, there's going to be some rust just because there's 2 weeks, but better that than
3 weeks.
More than 3 weeks.
Right.
The last time they played was Thursday. So
Yeah, and then I think you're mentioning the offensive line there, Greg, and, obviously still very young at this point. When you have Braxton Jones as your left tackle, you have Tevin Jenkins, your right guard, who's now growing more and feeling more comfortable in that role. You still want to see these live reps, and unfortunately there's not going to be a Jadeveon Clowney, a Myles Garrett going tonight, but still, live game reps matter, especially for a young football team like this Bears team currently is, going up against another opponent. You're going to see different looks. It hasn't been such vanilla defenses that the Bears have been facing the first 2 weeks, so anytime you can get a different kind of look, a blitz off the edge, that's what you want this offensive line to see right then and now, so that when it comes against the 49ers, hey, maybe they'll be a little bit more prepared. But that's going to be key for this one. You guys, as we're kind of looking at this final preseason game, who are just some of the guys that you're looking at in terms of, like, I want to see so-and-so perform well, or they need to perform well because, hey, maybe they're fighting for a roster spot, or you just want to have some legitimacy as to any of these guys. But are there any particular players that you guys are looking at?
For me personally, he's not fighting for a roster spot, but Braxton Jones, he's won the job. They took him out with Justin Fields after the last week. That tells you how they feel about the guy. But at the same time, he has no experience in the NFL. As you mentioned, the reps are important. So tonight, I'm disappointed Clowney and Garrett aren't playing because that's a test for them. But at the same time, if they're not out there, I want to see Braxton Jones dominate like we've seen him play very well at camp and Family Fest. He looked really well that day as well. So that's somebody I'm going to be keeping an eye on because let's face it, if Justin Fields is going to have any success this season, this offensive line has to hold up, in particular, his blind side.
Yep.
So, Braxton Jones, it seems like they found a diamond in the rough. I'm sure there's going to be, a rookie curve, some welcome to the big leagues moments. But I want to see him dominate tonight without those big dogs coming, on the other side of him. For sure. Kevin, what about you?
Yeah. I think I just want to see what receiving options Fields is going to have. Obviously, we know what Darnell Mooney can do, and we want him to come out of this game unscathed. But can EQ actually step up and catch a ball in the preseason? That might be helpful. I want to see what Cole Kmet can do. I mean, Cole Kmet might be the second option for Fields all season long. So what can he do in this game? And then, also just, of course, like how that offensive line comes together. They do have a test. You mentioned Clowney's not playing, but E. Chong said that Josh Schrock says Garrett is in uniform.
Okay.
I didn't see that, but
okay,
that would be
throw
something.
him out there. Throw him out there.
Please, we need it.
I don't need any PTSD from last year's game, though.
No,
yeah.
But let's see what the difference is, right?
Sure.
Slide a little protection that way. Matt Nagy left our tackles on an island against those guys last year. So let's see a different philosophy. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned in the headline for this pregame show was, can the Bears punch it in? But that's the other thing, is this red zone offense. I think they'll be able to move the ball this year for the most part. They're going to have their moments where they're 3 and outs, but they're going to be able to move the chains. But inside the red zone is going to be their biggest test because Cole Kmet is, at this point, their only legitimate option, and he still has a lot to prove. So tonight would be a great thing to see them punch it in the red zone.
Nick, I have a question for you. How much of the offense do you think Luke Getsy will show us? Obviously, you don't open up the entire playbook in the preseason, but do you think we're going to see a little bit more creativity than what we've seen?
Well, I think we got a glimpse of what this offense can be in just the one drive in Seattle. We saw screen plays. We saw the play action boot to the left, and Cole Kmet was out in just the left part of the field. Like, that's what Luke Getsy's offense is going to be about, getting the ball out in space to the playmakers so that they can get those yards after catch, which, in Matt Nagy's offense was non-existent. But I think in this one, with a half to play, I would hope that even if there is pressure, let's say Myles Garrett did play, or there is pressure on Fields, you would still want to do that. Get Fields in the most advantageous spot on the move and allow him to distribute the football. So in this game, I think we are going to see those screen passes that we saw in the game against Seattle. I think we are going to see the bootleg and just the naked boots that we saw in week 2. So if that's what we see in this one, that's what you're going to see in the regular season.
Right.
And I get it that you don't want to show your hand too early, but we know what this offense is built around, and that's what I think teams are going to be expecting. But give Justin Fields those live reps because this is where you want to test out to see what works, what doesn't, where do we have to slide that protection, what Greg was just saying earlier, because that's what you're going to do in the regular season, and it's against the 49ers. They know how to rush the quarterback, so why not test some of those things out right now?
No David Montgomery tonight?
Is he playing? I don't think so. I don't know.
He hasn't practiced, right?
So, yeah, and he hasn't had any.
So that's the other thing to me is Khalil Herbert, because he hasn't really had a chance to shine, and even to the point where Bears fans are like, okay, it's clear how much better David Montgomery is than Khalil Herbert. And I completely understand that sentiment. David Montgomery is a great player, but I think Khalil Herbert is also a very good player in his own right, hasn't had an opportunity to show it yet in the preseason, but there's still a lot of gelling to go with this run game, the offensive line, and the running back. So, to me, Khalil Herbert tonight being able to get comfortable with Justin Fields in the backfield and that threat of the run and the pass option. Luke Getsy really showed last week of calling a balanced offense. Even when Justin came out, I thought the balance was right in the first half. So I want to see Khalil Herbert have a nice first half too.
And I know, Greg, we were actually talking about him, was it week 2, like where he had dropped a pass, and we kind of want to see the consistency from a Khalil Herbert, just so you do feel like you do have that 1-2 punch in Montgomery and Herbert, because Treston Ebner, obviously he dealt with an injury after the Seahawks game, but he's showed you some flashes of what he can do. And if you're Khalil Herbert, I don't know if you're feeling the pressure, but like this is a game where you do want to show that there is that consistency. You can not only catch out of the backfield, but you have to be able to pick up the blitz. There were a couple times where he missed, so did Ebner. So these backs definitely have something to prove in this one.
Yeah, and it's nice to have those reps in preseason where if you do miss it, it's not the end of the world. But like you said, you have to step up. Chris Easterling from the Akron Beacon Journal says Brown starters such as Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt in uniform and going through stretching. Jack Conklin not in uniform. Now, Brad Biggs actually tweeted that a lot of those starters were sitting, but I don't know. It looks like some of this is up in the air. So I guess we're going to see here in 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, we will see what ends up happening in this game. But before we continue the show, I just have to tell you about Pointsbet. If you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us to continue to grow is to download the Pointsbet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the Pointsbet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Oh, yeah. There we go. that was a subtle there. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I was in preview mode, but let's
Littering
look at
littering
it.
and.
Joe says, Nick, are y'all making another Super Trooper movie? And there it is.
It's in the works. It's in the works right now. Brought back the stash. But what we also brought on set here, I don't know, for our people that are watching, I don't know if you could see these amazing cookies
I was going to
right
ask,
here.
you guys are 12 minutes in the show. We haven't talked about your mustache. We haven't talked
I hope
about you
they're
guys
not
twinning.
melted. Are they
We haven't talked
melting at
about
all?
the cookies.
But Greg, if you want to just tell the listeners like what we have going on here, because
My
this is amazing.
wonderful mother, who's put up with me for a long time now, she's in the cookie making business. A little shameless plug, but she calls it Grammy's Sweets. I almost don't want to plug it because she's slaving away at the stove every day making cookies, and it's a lot for her. She does weddings and birthdays and everything, and she's so nice, and she helps out the community, and so she wanted to make some for the CHGO family tonight, and they're great. She does a great job. She's very creative with how she does it.
Yeah.
What beer pairs well with these?
I'm not a beer guy. I'm a whiskey guy, so that'll be for you to determine.
All right, I will.
Let's test it out, Kevin. We'll test it out.
But, everyone loves her cookies, and she does a great job making them. So shout out to Barb.
Shout out to
Barb, thank you,
Let's go,
Barb.
Barb.
I cannot wait to
I hope
try
Barb's
one
in
of
the
those.
comments right
She's
now.
always watching for sure. She
That's
was in
awesome.
them last week. So, no, yeah, she does a great job with them.
Cool. Well, guys, we talked about some offensive guys that we wanted to see, and just in general what we want to see out of the offense in this preseason game. Let's go through this defense, too. They have something to prove, and Matt Eberflus was talking this week that, he still wants to see this hits philosophy, which the defense is completely bought into, which has been really cool to see a lot of these defenders just talk about, hey, I'm going into the next preseason game wanting to get 3 less loafs than I had maybe the week before, but they've really bought into it. But in terms of players or what you want to see out of the defense, Greg, I'll throw it over to you first. Is there anyone in particular that you're keeping your eye on in this last preseason game?
I mean, Kyler Gordon, last week was his, debut and, welcome to the big leagues kind of preseason moment. And they went after him a little bit, in particular, third down where they caught him in the slot and they got him on the inside. The receiver got inside leverage on him and gave up the first down. And he had some other moments where it almost looked like he had a peanut punch. He almost got home on a blitz. There was these almost moments, but then there were other moments. He missed a tackle too, I think, at one point. Kyler Gordon, we've seen Jaquan Brisker flash. He even made, an analyst top 5 rookies, and he only played in one game. And that shows you how much of an impression Jaquan Brisker already has, with the pundits. But Kyler Gordon hasn't had that yet. He's our, top pick, him and Brisker. We really want to see shine, and I'm very high on both those guys. But, I hope he can have a big showing tonight, because then going into the season with him and Brisker having a little momentum and confidence, like I said, even with Braxton Jones and these guys, they're all going to have welcome to the big leagues moments, and we have to, understand that and accept that. But at the same time, tonight's a big night for him to eat, So I hope he can.
So I love the coverage that you've been of the Hits defense that you've been writing about, Nick. Like, I love actually reading all the quotes because it seems like the players have been adopting this. And you actually wrote about when you were in Seattle, Dominic Robinson. He was credited with a few loafs in that five loafs.
Wow!
And I actually think we have to have a CHGO T-shirt that just says "No loafs."
I like that.
I love that idea. Right?
Yeah.
So like Dominique Robinson came back and said, look, like in Seattle, I was trying not to get any loafs. Now, did we find out if he was credited with any loafs in Seattle?
So I asked the defensive line coach if he had any, and he didn't specifically go into Dominique Robinson.
Okay.
But he said collectively as a team, all the loafs went down. And then he said also, I think Dominique Robinson had, less than he did a previous week. So, yeah, it's a big thing for all these guys.
We need a lack of loafs. So I want to see, Dominique Robinson, what his motor is. I think Travis Gibson, how does he respond to this? I think he's maybe not had the best preseason so far, or maybe we wanted to see a little bit more. So just to see that motor and how it goes on. Jacoby Brissett is getting the start for the Browns. Can they get in there and interrupt things? It's going to be interesting to watch.
Careful, guys. 8 hours grading the pregame show for loafs. So
But
he expects maximum
Travis, while may have some loaves, very good at paper, rock, scissors.
That was awesome, Greg, seeing that video with you and Travis. And I asked Travis if he still plans on doing the Thor celebration, and all for it. I should have asked him, too, if he saw the new movie, because I know that didn't go very well
I still have to see it.
But
I'm sure he did.
The guy that I'm going to be paying attention to and just kind of throughout the course of the game is Kindle Vildor and Kyler Gordon, because how they're planning on using Gordon, they'll use him in the slot when they're in the nickel defense. But when they're in their base defense, what they'll do is they'll slide out Gordon outside.
Okay.
So when it's a nickel, Kindle Vildor will actually be the outside corner. So just seeing how the chemistry and the communication works with these guys, I think it's going to be key for the regular season moving forward. So if you see a miscommunication out there, you got to get it out of there now, but you just got to see how that kind of it works in the game, because that's a lot on a rookie, Kyler Gordon, who's going to have to be knowing exactly what personnel's on the field, who he's guarding on a specific play, and then what his assignment is ultimately going to be. But also on the other side of things, Kindle Vildor is a guy, I know a lot of Bears fans, you say the name Kindle Vildor, it's get him out of Chicago. He doesn't deserve to be on the field. He's going to be on the field for, some of the defensive plays. So just seeing how those guys work in tandem with each other, I think that would be big for, this defense moving forward. But yeah, those are, again, some of the guys that we're looking at. After this game is all said and done, where will you guys feel comfortable with in terms of look, the end score doesn't matter. The Bears can lose this game.
3-0 last time was our undefeated last time.
I'm going to bet the Bears money line so they can't lose this game, Nick.
Okay, so you bet the money line. I would do that too, because
last time they went undefeated was 1994 in the preseason, and they made the playoffs that year.
So maybe it does matter. And I'll say this too.
Probably not, but
in terms of the depth, what we've seen in the Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, and then the Bears, their 2s and 3s. Hey, this team is well prepared when it comes to playing those reserve guys, and I think that has something to do with how Matt Eberflus and the rest of his coaching staff has constructed this roster. But where I was going at is, when it's all said and done, what do you ultimately want to see from this last preseason game that we haven't maybe mentioned here that will make you feel better about going, a few weeks away now into the week 1 game against the 49ers?
Well, the trend I want to see continue is the lack of penalties, because that's showing their preparation. And then the thing that I want to see them improve in this game is their red zone offense, particularly with the first team, because we haven't seen that much of them. So, I feel like they're very well prepared. I like how Trevor Siemian has ran Getsy's offense so far. Haven't seen enough of Fields to make it a real determination. The first drive was nice, 10 plays or whatever it was last weekend or last Thursday. But to me, the red zone offense is what I'm going to have my eye on. Hopefully they can move the ball so they can have a couple trips in there so we can see some different things. Obviously, they're not going to show everything tonight, and I wouldn't want them to. But at the same time, you're not – that was the thing with Matt. He was trying to reinvent the wheel with football. You're not really reinventing the wheel. Do what you got to do to get in the end zone. You're not if you're calling a few plays tonight and you feel like that's giving up your playbook isn't deep enough
your playbook
to be successful in the NFL. So those are the two things I'm looking forward to.
I think those are great things. I think just continuing to see young players make plays and step up. I feel like we came out of that Seattle game and felt like, hey, maybe Ryan Poles really made some great finds here. And I hope that continues, because if this is the beginning of something special, it's going to be these young kids making plays. It's Braxton Jones contributing. It's finding a Jack Sanborn in the undrafted free agent pile and watching that guy become a contributor. So it's all that. It's like who's going to step up? Who's going to be part of the next? The Cubs talk about the next great Cubs team, right? Who's part of the next great Bears team?
I like that a lot. I think for me, it's like what Eberflus has been talking about is you're not just making tackles. You're trying to strip that football. So in this game, there's a lot of guys that have jobs on the line. Mm-hmm. And once it gets to that, that second half of this football game, a lot of those guys that are playing are fighting for jobs. So I would like to see some of these guys take some risks, because that's ultimately what could get you on this football team. So if you're diagnosing a route concept and you're trying to jump the route, do it, because this might be your only opportunity to actually make a football team. So strip the football, punch at it, try to, again, create those turnovers that this coaching staff has been preaching all summer long. So for the young guys, just make the most of this, what could be ultimately your last opportunity in the NFL.
So just taking this in a little bit of a different direction, Northwestern, big comeback win.
Yes.
In Ireland today, after Scott Frost goes for an onside kick up 11 for some reason.
Oh, Scott Frost, what you doing, man? What you doing?
Illinois is up big on Wyoming right now as we speak.
Mark Carman was on the sidelines.
He was,
Mark Carman,
in Ireland.
And
about
so
20 pints deep.
So we're going to go 3 for 3 here on Illinois football. Illinois football teams.
Yeah, I guess so. Man, Nebraska.
At least we could bet on this one.
I really wanted to bet the Northwestern money line. You can't, because you got to go into somewhere. I didn't have time to. I've never actually been to one of these betting parlors or whatever. So
betting
unless I can do it on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
I was just happy Nebraska lost as a university.
Go Hawks.
Nick,
I'll go Hawks. Yes.
I'm old enough to remember when Nebraska was good.
I see. That's like an anomaly to me. Like Nebraska being good.
You have no idea. Like they were.
I know.
Freaking powerhouse.
They were a powerhouse.
Frazier. Oh my God, the Tommy Frazier run was it against Florida or was it against it was in the Orange Bowl, I believe.
I don't like Nebraska. But I will just say it sucks that we live in an era where Nebraska sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's fine.
It was good to have
the reason you just said how they were so good. That's why
it was good to have a Darth Vader of the plains, right? Like,
it didn't surprise me when they.
Hey, wait, quickly, Roquan Smith. What's the deal? Someone asked about. Torian asked about.
I saw on Twitter that
he
was on the sidelines, not in uniform for warm-ups. So from what I gathered from Twitter, which, it's Twitter, so I'm not saying I have. I didn't see it for myself, but it sounds like if he's not in uniform for warm-ups, that he's not playing tonight. But like
I'm fine
I said,
with it.
I got it from Twitter. So don't, if he is playing, don't kill me.
Is that a loaf?
That's a loaf.
Well, I love 8 Hour Vibes tweet. Is this a tweet message? No Adam Hogue equals that's a loaf. Someone's actually asking where Adam is. He has a family wedding. He's glamping in Minnesota tonight. It's a glamping wedding.
What is a glamping wedding?
It's like camping, but they have these like fancy tents and like fancy chandeliers. And so he said there's no Wi-Fi. I don't know if he's just saying that because he doesn't want to be watching us. But I was on the show Wednesday, and someone actually went in and said and did a super chat and told them to watch out for the traffic from like Eau Claire into the Twin Cities. I said, man, that's pretty nice. That's how like your listeners love you. And when people are paying to make sure that you get They get your traffic.
Sure,
advice.
yeah.
Glamping safely.
Glamping, 5 loaves. I like it. I've never been camping. I like all the things I've never done on this podcast.
Have you been glamping?
I've not. No, I've never done any of that. But
Sounds like a CHGO retreat opportunity. What do you
No
think?
thanks.
no, I'm
You
with
wanna go
Lawrence.
glamping
Yeah,
with
I'm
us, Lawrence?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with Lawrence.
I guess if we're glamping and there's a cabin, sure.
All right.
But
How
don't put me
many
in a damn
loaves
tent.
does Lawrence get for wearing
Okay.
Packers?
I was just
Oh,
going to
yeah,
ask that.
we didn't
Lawrence,
even
put
bring
your
this
Lawrence,
up.
put your
Yeah.
camera on.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Now it is a Chicago
look at that.
T-shirt.
Wait a minute.
HD.
Wait a minute.
No.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, put
Give
on
me
your
a second
camera.
here.
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
What is
Stand
going
up,
on here?
sir.
Hold on.
Stand up,
Yep,
sir.
stand up.
Give me the
Oh, yeah.
picture-in-picture shape
full
here.
screen.
So he's going
people
full screen.
He's going
listening
full
to this,
screen.
Yeah, well,
Lawrence
it
is
doesn't
about to
matter.
go
Well,
on
here's the
He's
thing.
trying.
No
He's
one's
trying.
No one's
This is another
listening to
loaf.
this.
Yeah, this is another loaf. Yeah, just add all the loaves. Hopefully the Bears don't have all
He's
these loaves
panicking.
this
All
game.
right, here we go. Let's get
And
this a
they
little bigger.
got it. Oh yeah.
You're gonna see.
Oh, I
Green and
see.
yellow. What?
Yeah, look at
Nico's
this.
Greg and I
Italian ice.
obviously coordinated.
And you
here.
didn't even bring any Italian
Nico's.
ice.
We could go there. I would love to get.
That
some.
would have
It's
paired
hot.
well with these cookies.
50
I mean, they got
loaves.
peach. It's the last weekend. They're doing peach, the Michigan peach and the sour cherry. Oh my God.
Where should we
me
DoorDash wings from?
Oh, yeah.
Audience. We're gonna
Comment.
crowdsource here.
Let's just not DoorDash and let's just go down the block here and actually eat somewhere because it's
just-
84 degrees in the
It's
in
not
the
that
office.
bad. It's actually not that.
You know, we
Lawrence,
ta-
you did a great job. You did.
the cross breeze. Yep.
Yeah, whatever the opposite of a loaf is, you got a nice cross breeze in here.
Yeah,
We had the
cross
naked
breeze,
guy
baby.
show up. I think he
Oh,
was
he's back?
looking at me while I was talking, which was a little unnerving. But
Oh, I
fine.
can't see him from.
Okay,
this
wait.
seat.
We were gonna do some CHGO prop bets for this game, and we just kind of skipped that. Here's my one prop bet I want us to do.
okay,
Over under on the temperature at the start of post game. I'm gonna go 85.5. Over or under.
Over under. I'll go.
It is currently 84 degrees in here. Although I don't.
I'll
know
go
since
under.
we
The
opened-
I'll go under,
temperature
yeah.
outside is going to drop. You've done a nice job moving the fans, opening the windows. Our patio door here is open.
I'm going to up the temperature by running around like a madman the whole first half as Justin Fields throws 3 touchdowns. I'm being generous.
Over under on the amount of cookies Nick eats. I'll set it at 2.5.
Under, way
Oh,
under.
I'm going
Because I'm
under.
gonna eat
I'm
all.
sorry.
Of them.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
Nick
okay,
doesn't
that's
eat-
why I'm
You'd
not
have-
gonna eat
you'd
them.
be at the gym all night
Yeah,
if
Nick
you
Should I
ate
put it at
cookies.
0.5?
I might still say under.
I go
Look at
over
Nick.
0.5. I'll at least eat one cookie.
What
They're show cookies.
Yeah, that's true.
what Justin Fields passing yards? What would you set that at?
Oh man, that's a tough.
100 at
yeah,
least.
let's over
99 and a half.
99 and a half.
I'll go and a half. You guys,
Over.
we'll go over. Going over. Greg, where are
Under.
you feeling? What you feeling?
Over.
Okay.
God, live a
Wait,
little.
wait. How about touchdowns? How about touchdowns for this first team offense in the
Shit, you gotta
know?
go with 0.5.
One rushing,
probably.
one passing.
If they get one rushing, one passing, I'll take a shot of Malort.
I'm sorry, say that again.
One rushing and one
Hold on,
passing.
hold on.
Okay, I
In
like
the,
it.
In the
What
first
was
team
that?
offense.
Say that
First
again?
team offense, one rushing touchdown, one passing touchdown. I will take a shot of Malort.
That is on tape.
I'd rather see you eat 5 cookies.
I'd rather take a shot of Malort. That's a lot of cookies. All right, you guys. Well, we'll see if any of that happens, and to make sure everything, you have to tune into the CHGO post game show, which will happen immediately after the Bears-Browns game ends. But you make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Greg, Kevin, Lawrence, everybody.
Yeah, sure.
here.
Follow me.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on everything. So make sure you tune in after this final preseason game, and we'll have to break everything down, and we'll see you then later.
Let's go Bears!